Namaskar, I'm Bharti Kaur and I welcome you all to our online training program. This is a live and interactive online training session under the umbrella theme of Digital Initiatives for Transforming Education. Well, this training program is organized by Central Institute of Educational Technology, that is CIET NCERT, New Delhi. You are watching us live on PME Vidya channels 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube channel NCERT Official. The session, of course, is live and interactive as always, and today we are in day 4 of the training session where we are going to talk about PRASHAST app. What exactly PRASHAST app is, why it was created, what exactly it is doing, and who all are the stakeholders. Is it definitely benefiting the ones for whom it is created, and do we also have some stats to prove the same? So we will know everything about PRASHAST app, that why it is actually required. In case you have any questions, if you're not familiar with the app, or even if you're familiar with the app and you're facing some problems, you can always get in touch with us. Please take down our phone number, which is 8800440559. We also have a dedicated email ID for you, and that is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. And lastly, we're streaming live on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. You can always get in touch with us, but please do not mark your attendance, ask relevant questions, and we'll be taking the questions during the session as well. So, who is there to enlighten us about this app, about the contents of today's session? So, please join me in welcoming her. We are joined by Dr. Bharti Kaushik. Ma'am, namaskar and a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
And let me apprise you all that ma'am is professor from Central Institute of Educational Technology, that is CIET NCERT New Delhi, and of course she has done a lot of amazing work as far as this app is concerned, and she is here absolutely willing to answer all your queries and clear all your doubts. But before we get into the question and answer round and we take up questions from you, ma'am, it is very important for us to know what exactly you are going to share with us during the session. So kindly share the brief overview.
Okay. So, let's begin with a brief of the PRASHAST app.
Yes.
PRASHAST app, PRASHAST, it's an acronym which stands for Pre-Assessment Holistic Screening Tool. So, acronym is not matching letter by letter with the word PRASHAST, but it means Pre-Assessment Holistic Screening Tool. And as the name suggests, holistic screening tool. Now, we are screening holistically. For what? For disabilities. And at what level? The disabilities existing at the school level. Now you will say, why we need to screen for disabilities at the school level? Because there are children who are in the age of school going and they are attending school. Many a times their behaviors and their symptoms are like they are originating due to disability conditions, but teachers may not be aware of these behaviors, that they are linked to one or two disability conditions. And nowadays, after the Right to Persons of Disabilities Act, which was revised in 2016, we have 21 legally recognized disability conditions. So, earlier before RPWD Act 2016, we were recognizing and working only for 7 disability conditions, but the Act got revised and now we are recognizing 21 disability conditions. So, even if you ask me what all these 21 disability conditions are, I may not be able to give you the symptoms and behaviors of all these conditions. So, if I am a regular teacher, when I am saying regular teacher, a teacher who is working in the school and is engaged in the delivering the content.
That's right.
Say for example, I am a language teacher.
Okay.
I am a mathematics teacher. So what is my job role in the school is I am titled as a teacher, but I am engaged in the transaction of the curriculum. When I am engaged in the transaction of the curriculum, my task is to teach that particular subject to the students, either class 6, 7th, 8th or whichever class is assigned to me. And during my pre-service training, I might have got some orientation about disabilities, what disabilities are, what are their symptoms, but I may not have studied them in minute details because I am an expert of my subject matter, but may not be an expert of the disability
and
conditions.
not a special educator.
Of course. And now this is the first cadre that we have in the schools. The second cadre of teachers in the school is the special educators. Now special educators are the one who have undergone specialized training in meeting the diverse needs that arise due to disability conditions. But again, their training is only in 1 or 2 disability conditions. So, they are master of only 1 or 2 disability conditions. The rest, they are definitely better aware than the regular teachers. So, for them also, PRASHAST acts like a ready reckoner. And part 1 of the PRASHAST has around 63 statements. Each statement is a behavioral statement. This is the PPT slide 1 that is appearing on your screen. This is the acronym, and this is how the PRASHAST app looks like. So, as I was saying, it has 63 statements, which is part 1 of the PRASHAST screening tool. The part 1 is to be filled by the regular teachers, and part 2 of the PRASHAST screening tool is to be done by the special educators. Now, as special educators have a little better understanding than our regular teachers, so what is to be done here is, whichever observation the regular teachers has given us in the part 1 of the PRASHAST screening tool, the special educators have to vet it or to verify it or give their opinion about it, so that the children are done scientifically screened. They are not labeled unscientifically based on their behavioral symptoms. So, purpose of PRASHAST app is to screen the children scientifically, to avoid unnecessary labeling and to screen for all the 21 disability conditions that we are recognizing after the RPWD Act 21. And I am happy and proud to share that this is India's only statistically standardized screening tool that covers all the 21 disability conditions. And since we are in the era of technology, so to make it accessible to the far-flung areas and corners and length and breadth of our country, we have launched its Android application version on 6 September 2022. So, the app is not yet 3 years old and we are still becoming wiser day by day, and we have lots and lots of registrations on the app, and each day teaches us something new about the challenges the end users are facing by using this app.
Well, the more the feedback, the greater the upgrades, and it's a great initiative, I must say. And I have to tell you that we started this training program with APAR ID.
Yes.
You know, one of the IDs where we collate the data, and of course it can be used for future purposes, whether job or for further studies. And then here we have another similar app, but PRASHAST, but it's a screening tool.
It's a screening tool, and that too disability screening tool, not any screening tool for academic assessment or something. This is like not a reflection on the child. It is just a screening tool which is screening for the disability conditions that are recognized in the RPWD Act 2016. And one of the mantra is, the earlier you identify the disability conditions, the better you will be able to manage these disability conditions within the regular classrooms and even beyond the classrooms. But first thing is, at least we should understand why the child that is sitting in my class is nodding his or her head constantly, flapping her hands constantly like this, or is not able to pay attention to the class. Why the child is not able to follow my instruction? Is it due to the language concern, or is it due to some reason, some factor which is leading us to or linking us to a disability condition? Unless we understand that, we will not be able to help that child. And I believe, genuinely believe, that the sole purpose of you as a teacher, me as a support at the back end, our sole purpose is to help that child who is in the schools and sitting in the classroom.
Indeed, and I think this app has a very focused approach, and as you said, it is only focusing on the disabilities. But again, you said there's so many stakeholders involved. There are special educators, there are teachers, and then there are teachers without the training.
Of course,
they are also involved.
Of course.
So, like, what was the main idea, behind including the teachers as well? As you said, the principal is there, school educator is there, and you say it is important to diagnose the symptoms early, so that, of course, the right course can be taken, and of course, we can help the child in any way possible. But then teachers are involved. So I'm sure it's a great initiative, to also include them. Are they being sensitized towards the things?
Yes, yes. Now, as our regular teachers or our subject teachers and curriculum transactors, that includes our sports teachers also, computer teachers also, so many subjects we have nowadays in the curriculum. Now, they might have touched upon the area of disability during their pre-service teachers, so they might have heard about some disabilities and all. Some may have the personal experiences also of few disability conditions. But a regular teacher or the teacher is one person in the school in whose contact the student is there for the maximum number of hours.
So immediate contact, or the teacher is the first point of contact.
First point of contact, and this teacher is in a better position to observe the child, to observe their symptoms, and to daily in and out the teacher is observing the child in various conditions. Say for example, if I am teaching maths, I know when I am working on the blackboard, when I am giving the homework, when I am asking for the classwork, when I am asking for submissions of some projects or something, how the child behaves. When I initiate a new topic, what is the behavior of the child? What are the child's anecdotes? That also a regular teacher is aware of.
Yes.
So, as a mathematics teacher, I may not be aware of the disability conditions, their behaviors. So, part 1 of our precious checklist caters to this particular stakeholder, which are the regular teachers, which are the subject teachers. How each statement is like, is this child finds it difficult to follow the instruction? So, basically it is a behavior, a day-to-day behavior that we keep on observing in the classroom.
And even though she is not trained
exactly
to identify children with special needs, but she is certainly trained to observe the behaviors and of course to notice the patterns in children.
Bilkul.
Also by gauging their learning capabilities, you can figure out where a child stands. Now ma'am, this data is very sensitive and so many people are involved. There are schools, there are principals, teachers, special educators. So if we try to understand the role of schools, how they are performing, what exactly they are doing, because it is beginning, I'm sure it's beginning with the registration. The moment a child enters the school, this registration starts. So please elaborate on the roles of school in PRASHAST.
Okay, so let's go stepwise. Now the PPT that would be available on your screen will show you the icon of the PRASHAST app. So the icon we have circled also. So this is the icon that you have to Google on the Google Play Store.
Okay.
It's an Android app. So
it's also available on iPhone, ma'am?
Yes, no, it's not available for iPhones. It is only available in Android version. Though we are working for the desktop version as well as the Android version, and it would be, let's all keep our fingers crossed, if the development process goes smooth, it soon will be rolled out.
All right.
With better and enhanced features based on our 2.5 years learning.
Sure.
So as of now, this is the Android version of the PRASHAST app, only working on the mobiles and tablets, and you can click on this icon of the PRASHAST. Once you click on the icon of the PRASHAST, this page will open, which is shown on the right hand side of the slide.
Okay.
So take care. There might be similar apps with the similar names.
As well.
Yes. So this is the authentic app.
Yeah.
And then we have the PRASHAST FAQs, frequently asked questions, and the PRASHAST ebook. Ebook is the PRASHAST manual available in the EPUB, electronic book format, that is also available. And to access the frequently asked questions and to access the EPUB, you need not even register.
Yeah, and ma'am, the objective behind showing this step-by-step process is that the data you're going to enter in the app is quite sensitive.
Yes.
So you need to be aware whether the product or the app you're using is genuine one or not, basically.
Exactly. That is why we are showing each and every minor detail. So for FAQs and for accessing the PRASHAST ebook, you need not even register. Just on the landing screen of the app, you will be able to access these two things. So don't be really afraid of the app and save and
also
there are
many protect.
Yeah, there are many users who keeps on asking us. We are neither the teachers nor the special educators, and we are not even the principals. But still, I want to know about the PRASHAST. So we tell them the simplest way to access PRASHAST is download the app, access the ebook, so that you become familiar with the PRASHAST. And once you have downloaded the ebook, you may very well uninstall the app also if you are not using. But if you are a teacher, if you are a special educator, or if you are a principal, and your school has a valid UDICE code, then you can register on the PRASHAST app. So, your next question probably would be ki who all can work on the PRASHAST app? So, on the PRASHAST app, only 3 types of users can work. Number 1 is the principal, number 2 is the teacher, and number 3 is the special educator. And the orders is not according to any hierarchy, but they are the 3 stakeholders that can work on the PRASHAST app as of now.
And they have the different logins and different responsibilities assigned to them.
Exactly. Say for example, on this page you can see register as new user. So, how do I register as new user? I need to click at this button and then the next screen will open, and now we will discuss the registration process. So, the step 1 of the registration user is you have to click here, and once you click here, the next step is this screen opens up, which asks you whether you want to register with the Gmail or you want to register with the Yahoo email ID, or even if you don't have the Gmail or Yahoo ID, you can register with any other email like Hotmail or Rediff Mail.
Registration with email is important.
But maximum of us have either Gmail or Yahoo ID.
Sometimes people register with their mobile numbers also, but here we need only email ID.
Only email ID. Mobile number is required as an additional information. Let's move ahead and see.
Right.
So, this is it. So, click here to use the account already signed in. Now, if you are using your Gmail ID or your Yahoo ID, so say for example, I am using my Gmail ID, so I will click at the register with Gmail so that the app takes my credentials from my mobile.
So, it's quite user friendly.
Yes, and but the only condition is before you say register with Gmail or that particular email ID, that inbox should be opened in your mobile.
Okay.
Then only you will be able to do the registration easily. Say for example, so many Gmail IDs are there. So, you have to now choose which email ID you want to register with. So, I have chosen one email ID and so once I have chosen the requisite email ID and that email ID is already opened on my mobile, then the app will ask me to give the basic details like name, gender, designation, and the now here you will require the phone number because it's a very simple process.
Right.
So, now start filling your name, gender. Gender is a drop down that you can select. Designation again is a drop down, and in designation we have teachers, special educators and the principals. And then you have to give your phone number and then click at the continue. Because many a times users also ask us that we have given all the things but the app is not moving forward because they forget to press the continue button.
But ma'am, there is one more question that I have. Okay, we are giving a phone number, email ID, and what if we change a phone number? Can we make some kind of alteration?
Of course, you can. You can edit your profile later on once you have started using the app. So, once you have given all the basic details, then the next step is just to complete the registration process, the app requires your school UDICE code. Now, what is school UDICE code? That is, UDICE is a portal that collects information system for education. It's a universal system for data management for school education in India. So, each school is given a code. So, that code needs to be given and then you have to click on the checkbox that yes, the information given by me is correct, and if you click that checkbox, then the next step that opens up, the screen that opens up on your mobile is the one that is appearing on the right hand side. So, just by giving us the UDICE code, the app is linked with the UDICE database and it fetches the data of your school automatically.
I think that's where the confidentiality part comes in, that not everybody can create an account or access the data because you need that unique code.
Yes, you need that UDICE code. And another thing, as a teacher, I know all my school information like where it is located, which state it is located, which block it is, which cluster it is, it's already there on the UDICE portal. So, if I am asking a teacher to fill it again, I'm saving that time of the teacher and effort of the teacher. So, once the UDICE code is correct and you have checked the checkbox, the app automatically fetches and then you will have to go through the information, read it once and again check the checkbox which says, I hereby declare that the above information is true and then you continue.
Right.
So, once you continue, then what happens? You are taken to this message. Now, this message is very, very important.
Yeah.
Why? If you are a teacher or if you are a special educator, for both the teachers and special educator, this message appears on your screen. It says, start now. You have successfully registered on the PRASHAST application using the mail ID. It gives you your mail ID also from which you have registered, and it also says that we have sent a verification request to your principal at the email address falana falana. So, why that email address is important? Because many a times principals change, the UDICE email ID of the school changes, and we have faced situations wherein schools keeps on asking, that app keeps on saying verification pending, but we have not received any notification of verification for a person as a teacher or special educator who is working in our school. Why? Because nobody in the school remembers the school mail ID. That is why this message is so important. So, whenever you are registering on the PRASHAST app, take a screenshot, keep this message safe somewhere so that you also know that this is the email ID at which PRASHAST app has sent the verification request.
Right. And I think, of course, it is important because only when you keep the message safely with you, you can use it for later references.
Exactly, exactly. That is quite important. And you know, this email ID is your school's email ID, which is linked to the UDICE portal.
Of course, because it has been fetched automatically once you feed the number.
So, now let's see the dashboard of principal, teachers and special educator one by one. And there is one more thing before I show you the dashboard of all these three stakeholders. The principal, it is mandatory to register with the email ID of the school which is linked with the UDICE portal. So, in short, I call it school UDICE email ID.
Ma'am, before you go to the dashboard, I want to ask you one question. You know, all educational institutions are following the frameworks laid down by National Education Policy 2020, which talks about inclusivity a lot. So, do you think the PRASHAST app is also one of the outcomes as a result of the same only, and it has been encouraged and promoted in a big way?
Yeah, I can say that since the app was launched in 2022, it's 2.5 years old only. So, the effort started a little earlier, but we can definitely link it to the vision of NEP 2020 for equitable and inclusive education, which says all our neighborhood schools should be need-based, should address individual needs and should support the diverse needs of all students irrespective of disability and disadvantages or gender or regionality or economic conditions. So, it's a huge group and disability is one of the group. So, this is like realizing the vision of NEP 2020 and very well goes in accordance to the NEP's vision.
Right. Okay. And now let's talk about the dashboard. I'm sure you have a lot of interesting and amazing data to show us also.
Yes, I have. But again, the caution for the principals, all the principals are head teachers. Your job role on PRASHAST is number one to register yourself, but register only with the school UDICE email ID. Whereas all the teachers and special educators, you are free to register with your own personal email IDs or whichever email ID you are using for school work and official work. But for principals, it is mandatory that you register with the school UDICE email ID and fill correct UDICE code, because the app only looks at the principal's email, school email ID, UDICE and the UDICE code, and once these two information matches, the principal gets auto-verified. Once the principal gets auto-verified, only then principal will be able to verify the teachers and the special educator. And how it is done and how it is apparent on the dashboard, let's have a look.
Right.
So, dashboard for the principals. The principal's dashboard looks like this. It says welcome, Rehman Ali, principal or head teacher. And then there are how many buttons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons arranged in 2 columns. And each button has a particular task or function. Say for example, survey list, the first button, then we have profile. Here, if by clicking on the profile, you can edit your profile, change your phone numbers and everything.
All right.
So, that is there. Then on the principal's dashboard, another button is of teachers. So, if you click on the teachers, then a list of teachers is shown. And against each teacher, it would be written verification pending or verified. So, it is such an easy click on a button, and if you want to verify a teacher and you know that this teacher is definitely working in my school and I trust this teacher, you just have to click verified. That's it. And the same goes with the special educator. Then updates of the Precious ebook you can access through here also. About Precious, a brief description is there. Then FAQs. So FAQs and ebook that you can access through the landing page can be accessed through here also.
Great.
So now let's see the teacher's dashboard. See, the buttons on the teacher's dashboard are hardly 6. 2 less than the principal's.
Yeah.
Because principal has the job to verify the teachers and the special educators. So on the teacher's dashboard, the very first button is Start Screening Part 1. That means very clearly defined that teacher has to work only on the part 1 of the Precious
Now, what
app.
is part 1?
Part 1 is basically behavioral symptoms.
Okay.
Statements, 63 statements it has, which says this child has difficulty in following instruction, this child makes reversals in the letters, this child stammers, this child is not able to walk properly and gets hit by our, it's interacting with the environment and is stumbling upon the things or furniture. So all these kind of simple behaviors that are observable in the regular classroom and are many a times observed by the teacher.
Yes.
So this also has the 5 buttons apart from Start Screening Part 1 are same as they are in the principal's dashboard. Now let's see special educators. Now since the teacher's role is for Part 1, which comprises of 63 statements, the special educator's role is to vet the observations given by the regular teachers in Part 1. So therefore, the very first button on the special teacher's dashboard is Start Screening Part 2.
Which is a bit more complex.
A little more complex because for this we require a little better understanding than the
knowledge.
Yes, about the disability conditions, their symptoms and all. And here I must say the special educators, due to their pre-service training, are equipped and experts in disability conditions and knowledge and studies, but they are expert of only 1 or 2 disabilities. For them also, they require to brush up their knowledge.
Yeah.
And for this, the part 2 of the Precious booklet gives them individual disability-wise behavioral symptoms and the definitions of disability as mentioned in RPWD Act 2016. So, part 2 of the Precious also acts like a ready reckoner for our special educators.
True.
And on all the 3 dashboard, you can notice a small triangle just towards the bottom. Click on that. That's your very familiar button for videos.
Oh, great.
And you will see how to use Precious as per your role. So, if you are clicking this button from the principal's dashboard, the role of the principal would be appeared.
Oh, that's lovely.
And
even the app is promoting, the design of the app is promoting inclusivity. Lovely.
And it's like if I am a principal and I do not know how to log in, how to verify a teacher and how to download the data, just click on that button and the video will pop up.
Yes.
And similar for special educator and similar for teachers. So, role based videos are also linked there.
Great.
So, let's move ahead.
And since this training program, even if you're not a stakeholder, but you still need to have, you must have awareness about the Precious app and you must spread the same because this training session is open for all. So if you want to learn about digital initiatives, this is one of the very relevant and beneficial one. And now let's straightforward come to the role of different stakeholders, ma'am.
Yes. So role of the principal is, as I have been repeating again and again, so let's have a look at it very quickly.
Yeah.
Register at the Precious with UDICE linked email ID. So UDICE linked email ID I am again and again repeating because I am getting number of calls and complaints and queries from my users which says, ma'am, verification is pending for the principal. And 99.9% of the cases, the email with which the principal has registered is not the school UDICE email ID.
Oh, that is why who will verify the principal?
Yes, principals needs to be self-verified.
Yeah.
And for principal self-verification, only 2 things are required. The UDICE linked email ID and the UDICE code.
Okay.
Then after registering, self-verification of the principal's account, that would be done automatically. Then principal's role is to verify the teachers and the special educators.
Right.
Then principal assign the class to the teacher. That is also possible.
Okay.
And another thing that principal needs to do it after part 1 and part 2 screening is done for particular class or your entire school. You can download the data which is available in the form of Excel sheet, which is downloadable, and you have to now share it with your higher authorities as and when needed.
Okay.
Because for each recognized school, each government school which is under Samagra Shiksha, the data needs to be shared with the higher officials of Samagra Shiksha. And the administration of Samagra Shiksha is like school to cluster, cluster to block, block to district, district to the state.
Okay.
So, if a person or principal is at the school, the principal needs to share data with the cluster resource center coordinator. So, cluster resource center coordinator will then further share it, because in each cluster they have around 25 to 50 schools. So, they will collect the data at the cluster level, then they will share it further at the block level. So, principal's role is to download the data and email it to the cluster. So, it's so simple, the principal need not compile the data, the principal need not use a pen and paper, need not assign duty to a particular teacher that you need to compile the disability screening data for the whole school. It's already done by the app automatically.
Okay.
So, for self-verification of the principal, again and again I am saying ki only 2 things are required: the correct school UDICE email ID and the code. So, this is how here the principal has automatically verified.
Right.
And once you have verified yourself as a principal, the edit profile is also there button. So, you can edit your profile.
And how many times can you edit, or is there any time limit after registration?
No. As many times as you want, you can do that.
And as and when you realize that something has been wrongly entered, you can correct it.
And see, I told you that on the principal's dashboard, if you click on the button teacher, so a list of teachers available who have registered on the PRASHAST app from your school or given your school's UDICE code will open in front of you. This is how it opens. You can see Imran Khan, Samia, Rupali Datta, they are all dummy names. The persons are real, but their role is right now dummy.
Exactly, but that's how the page will look like.
Yes. Okay. And Imran Khan is a verified teacher. Then Samia is also verified teacher, and Rupali Datta is also appearing to be verified teacher, because the principal has already verified them. Had they not been verified, so in front of them it would come verification pending. And then also you can see there are button for delete and assign class. So if a teacher is transferred or retired, you can delete that teacher also from your school role
database. And it's not just the verified ones are appearing, but even the pending verifications are appearing on the same page. Okay.
Exactly.
So the principal has got all the records.
All the records. All the records.
Okay.
So now let's see here.
Yeah.
So Hema is not verified. So it's coming verify. So if you will click on the button verify, then the next moment you will open the apna app.
You will refresh the app probably,
yes,
and you will
see
icon
verify.
Will change, the color will change.
And similarly, on the Hema's dashboard, she will appear verified and she can start working on the PRASHAST app. Because unless or until the principal verifies Hema, Hema will not be able to do the screening.
So she will only get this notification on the app, or is she going to get some email as well that you have been verified?
On the app itself. On the email also, the email ID at which she has registered.
Okay.
So both the things are there.
Right.
So similar for special educators. So we are still talking about principal dashboard. So on the principal dashboard, if you click on the special educator button, then again the next screen shows that all the list of the special educators that are there and registered on the PRASHAST app using your school UDICE code, they'll appear, and again the same process for the principal. Very simple. Click on the teachers to which you want to verify as a special educator for your school, and then they'll be verified. Say for example here Rohan Jan is not verified. So verify is appearing in front of him. So you just need to click on the verify, just like teachers.
And if the school educator leaves or changes the job or gets transferred, you can delete the name.
Of course. So assign class is also there to the special educator. If you have more than one special educator, you can also do the assigning of the class.
Right.
So now how the principal assigns class to the teacher. Let's see that. Teacher. Then again click on the teacher, then the list of teachers will appear. Now what happens? Assign class. Click on assign class, and then the class drop down will appear in front of you. So it has all the classes starting from kindergarten to class 12, because the app is applicable from foundation to the secondary level.
Right.
So the better version or the second version of the app that we are launching, the nomenclature may change according to NEP 2020. So now a list of class nursery to 12 or kindergarten to 12 will pop up, and then you can assign the class, select the class and assign the class to the teacher. That's it. So simple
Yeah,
for the
very
principal.
simple. And ma'am, I just want to ask you that so many data has been collated. What about the benefits that it is providing to the students? Are they going to use it for their job roles as well?
No. Students will not be able to use the data for the jobs or something, but it's, remember one thing, it's a screening app. So screening app is basically, it gives you a tentative list of disabilities, possible cases of disabilities that are occurring in the students.
Okay.
That, say for example, in my class 3 students might have learning disabilities. Remember Ishan Tare Zameen Par?
Yeah.
But I am not aware of that the child has the learning disability. There might be another child sitting in my class who has hearing impairment. The child is not able to hear properly, but the symptoms are not quite obvious to me. So the child may be ignored throughout my classes and throughout his or her schooling. So if you'll screen these students or every student for all the disability condition which the PRASHAST app does, so you get a list of tentative disability conditions. Now these disability lists need to be shared further, and at block level in every state the assessment and certification camps are organized.
Okay.
This data and students are taken to these assessment camps where they get the certificate of disability.
Okay.
Once they get the certificate of disability, then under Samagra Shiksha, there is a huge list of provisions that we give to these children. Say for example, an extra time during board examination.
Or probably scholarships?
Scholarships are also there, and then provision of scribe, extra time, adapted question paper, a buddy, the thing you need.
So
basically.
that's how they will be benefited through the app and the data that is stored.
Screening is the first process to reach to certification.
Absolutely.
And screening should be done scientifically, it should be done without bias and prejudice. So that is why we have this app.
Yes, and we have already discussed the role of principals. So very briefly, let's go to the teachers.
Yeah. So for the teacher's role, we have just again, you have to register, then add students in the assigned class, that is part 1 screening you need to do.
Right.
And how it works, the dashboard of the teacher is there. Fine. After successful registration as a teacher, you will land on this page, and if you will start screening part 1, then what happens? You have clicked on the start screening part 1, data is not available. Why data is not available? Because you are clicking it at for the first time and you have not even entered a single data. So how do I work? I click on the add student. So once I click on add students, then the third screen opens up which asks me details of the students whose name to be added. And once I have given all the details, then fourth screen which shows me the class wise data of the students.
Right.
And then this is how it works. And how do I start screening part 1? I'll click on the class wise data of the students that I have entered, student wise data, and if I'll click on start survey, then the survey which is 63 statements in part 1 opens up in front of me. I need to read each statement and click on the square box which for whichever statement is applicable. Say for example here. I am reading out this statement which is selected by a teacher.
Right.
The student has difficulty in moving or using any part of the body, for example, hands for writing or eating, etc. It's such a simple behavior that can be observed in the classroom. The student has observable deformity such as missing any body part, say for example, hand, finger or leg. So that's also visible. So all visible symptoms are available there, and you have to check. And first 5 students you may take some time because you are reading the statements. But then you will pick up the speed.
Right.
So once select the student, complete the part 1 survey, and request is please go through all the 63 statements. Initially it may look a very tedious and tiring work, but you will get used to it, and believe me and trust me, you are helping a child,
yes, of
shaping its future. you are helping the child in building his or her self-confidence, building his or her self-perception, and saving the child from unscientific labeling based on the disability conditions.
And ma'am, are these 63 statements covering all the observations? Because sometimes if you notice something else that is already not there, you have other box option of others and you can write it down.
The list is so comprehensive that we don't need the any other option. And moreover, one statement that is their behavior statement that indicates to other disability conditions. So one behavior is not at all purely restricted to only one condition.
Sure.
So once you have submit data, it will ask you, what do you want to do? Save, cancel or submit. And then you can submit for final submission, and once you have done the final submission, then the screen will show the green dots, which gives you the indication of the status of the screening for a particular child, that the screening has been saved, it has been submitted, and once it, see, the reviewed dot is not green here. That means it is yet to be reviewed by the special educator.
And I think the role of teacher is extremely important, ma'am, because they are doing the first level screening and they have to be really observant in their job. If at all they miss out on something important, you know, that will hinder the further process.
Exactly. So that is why this earlier the teachers were hardly engaged in the screening of disabilities, assuming that they do not know the disability conditions, and which is quite true also. But PRASHAST gives you a chance to collaborate in this very essential process of disability screening, that too without taking the stress of knowing about each disability conditions in minute detail. The part 1 checklist is so simple, based on only observable behaviors, and wherein you need not write anything. Just you have to select the statements, click on the checkbox, and your observations would be recorded.
And I think that is the kind of research that has been done in designing the app, that you need not to, and probably that's why it is written that they do not require any special training.
Exactly.
Right. Because the list is so comprehensive and so detailed that you just need to observe and check the box and your job is done.
Your job is done as a teacher.
Yeah, as a teacher. But the special educator has a different role to play, a little more complex as we discussed.
The special educator, since their level of understanding, knowledge and expertise is a little better in the context of disability, so they have to register once again as for the other two stakeholders, then they will have to perform part 2 of the screening. So this is the dashboard of the special educator, wherein start part 2 screening, you click on this, and now a special educator might be attached to more than one particular school. So once the special educator clicks on here, start screening part 2, a list of schools at which the special educator is attached opens up. Now here in the school list you can see only one school has verified this particular special educator. The rest two principals have not verified yet. But the special educator has done his or her job. He himself has registered. Now the special educator will be able to work only on this school whose principal has verified. Now if as a special educator, if I am attached to more than these 3 schools, then I can add school by clicking at the bottom, add school, then again I can be the same simple steps I have to follow, the instructions that the app keeps on giving me. So if I click on the verified school, then the list opens up, which is a survey list like class wise pre-primary to class 12, and then click on a particular class, say for example class 4. Now here you can see the list of 3 students. Then now here in this list the Ajay and Anjali survey has been reviewed. Now I have to review the Chirag ka survey, and then for Chirag surveys, if I will click on the view survey, I will be shown what all disability conditions the app has listed tentatively based on the observations of the teacher given in part 1 of the survey. So here you can see, if I click on view survey, which is there under Chirag, so I am taken to the another screen which gives me brief profile of the Chirag. Then it gives me disability observed in part 1. So what are all disabilities are observed in part 1? Locomotor, dwarfism, SLD, specific learning disability and multiple disabilities. Now I do not know what are the symptoms that the teacher has observed in part 1.
Yeah.
So, and I want to see this. So, for this I have to click on the view survey. Once I click on the view survey, the selected statements which Chirag's teacher has selected in part 1 will open up in front of me.
Oh, okay.
है ना? So the last screen is, third screen is, it is showing 4 statements. So these statements are, the student has difficulty in moving using any part of the body, for example hands for writing, eating, etc. This statement Chirag's teacher has chosen. Then this student is significantly shorter for his or her age. This student has a disproportionately large head, bored legs or short fingers or neck.
Yeah.
This student reads or writes slower than the average or expected speed. So these are the 4 statements Chirag's teacher has selected, and based on these statements, the app has identified in the middle screen 4 disability tentative conditions, which is locomotor, dwarfism, disability, specific learning disability and multiple disabilities. Now please note, if the symptoms are indicating more than 2 disabilities, the app automatically includes multiple disabilities.
Okay, great.
Right? So now as a special educator, what I need to do? Now I know what all statements the part 1 teacher has selected. I know the tentative list of disabilities that app has given me. So what I need to do? This is my action screen now.
Yeah.
On this action screen, again small profile is there, which is same, and then the very first rectangle has disability suspected after part 2. Now even in part 2 we are saying disability suspected, because remember it is a screening tool. Nowhere we are saying ki we are labeling the child with this particular disability. Now here also we have a drop down menu. This drop down menu will give you a list of all 21 disabilities. So you can select even the disability which the list has not given you in part 1. So as a special educator you have that option, but you have to justify your observation.
Yeah.
So we need to do that.
True.
And then you also have to give us yes and no about the start behavior, which are red flags that you are observing in a child, and then you will have to submit. And role of the principal we have already
discussed,
already seen. So very quickly we can show you this.
Yes.
This is how the Excel is prepared.
Okay. And ma'am, does the app shows that how many registrations have been made so far?
Yes, it shows this, and this is the data for state, and it's today's data only.
Okay.
Which the screen is showing, that state-wise data is there, how many schools are registered, how many registered users, and the data just below 15,156,999 is 94,229, which is circled and which is showing with a green tick. That means these many users are verified out of the registered users.
Wow.
So this data is also we have, and we have it for all the states.
Now ma'am, this data has been collected online and we are living in cyber age where of course there's so many cyber threats also. How can we ensure data safety here? Because it's quite sensitive.
Yes, the data is quite sensitive. That is why we have made the principals mandatory to register themselves with UDI's email ID. That is the only reason, because we were so conscious and so sensitive to the data safety. We never wanted that anybody and everybody can work on the PRASHAST app. So that is why there are internal verification by the principal of the teachers and the special educator, and the principal is verified self through the school UDI's email ID and the UDI's code. Even I know one of my friend works in whichever school, so I can very well request, share your school UDI's code.
Yeah.
Or if I'll Google it also, so I'll get the UDI's code of a particular school. And the same manner, both the information may not be available to me simultaneously.
Absolutely.
So that's the precautions that we have taken internally to save the data.
Right. And now ma'am, when we were talking about TAPAR ID, we figured out something, that it's important to take the consent of parents, whether they want to allow the authorities to take the data of their child or not. Do we see similar situation here as well?
Yes. See, the screening data that we collect on PRASHAST app needs to be shared further to the cluster authorities, then the block and the district and then the state level. So once the child needs to be taken to the assessment certification camp being organized at the block level. So the principal needs to make the parent aware that initial screening done through PRASHAST has shown us these many symptoms and these many possibilities. So we are sharing it with you, and now we want your consent and your cooperation for further action that needs to be taken.
Right. So ma'am, what kind of schools are involved, as far as this initiative is concerned? Is it just restricted to government schools, government aided schools, or private sector schools are also players in the same?
See, the only essential requirement is each and every school with a valid UDICE ID.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Great.
That's the minimum requirement that we have on the PRASHAST.
Right. And ma'am, time and again you are saying that it's not about labeling the child, it's all about screening. So till what stage can we edit the data? Suppose something, some data has been wrongly entered during the screening part 2. So can we edit the same once it has gone to the authorities?
Yes, the possibility is there.
Okay.
Because with the authorities, if you are sharing whatever is finally submitted on the app, so you may not be able to change it on the app, but whatever Excel you are sharing with the authorities, you can write a remark or star or somewhere there, because it's an Excel sheet, just like you keep on preparing, it's an editable Excel sheet.
Right.
And moreover, whenever you are taking the child to the assessment and certification camp, there also one of the school representative would be there.
Okay.
Or the parent of the child would be there. So they can have a discussion with the experts, and experts can have a look. Because in the screening, in the certification camps, we have a panel of experts, including the medical doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, ophthalmologists. So many people are there.
Right.
So they are there.
To err is human, and that is why, all the precautions have been taken in designing the app, in collecting the data, in disseminating the information. At every stage, you have the chance to rectify the errors. And as ma'am said, that even, at the time of meeting with the officials, you can give a remark or so, and you can still change the thing, because this data is sensitive. It is not just for the present moment, but it is definitely going to come handy for all further and future requirements. Ma'am, it was an eye-opening session.
Thank you.
Would you like to give some message, or I think as such you have just shared everything with us? It was really important for us to be aware that such an app exists, and we all can be a part of it, and we all can spread this message around.
Yes. The last message that I would like to give to the stakeholders who are allowed to work on the app is, kindly start working on the app. There is nothing to be afraid of. Even if you have made some mistakes, we are here at the back end to provide you all the support, all the trainings, and we are here to resolve all your queries.
Now, trainings, with training, of course, ma'am, when there is training, when there is a session, there has to be a feedback. Is there any particular email ID that they can reach out to?
Yes, the email ID is precious.helpdesk@cit.nic.in.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am, for all the information, for enlightening us about the PRASHAST app. We thank you for your time and contribution to the session. Thank you. And now it's time for me to wrap up the session. Of course, today on day 4, we talked about PRASHAST app. We gathered all the necessary information. As ma'am said, please start using the app and share your feedback. If there is anything that needs to be done as far as the design of the app is concerned, its usage is concerned, we're definitely working on it. It's a work in progress as well. It's a little baby, but yeah, it's growing, and we need your help and participation and contribution as well, because this is for a very genuine and a very beautiful cause. And with this, I am wrapping up today's session. And of course, we're talking about, how digital technology is transforming the education. Today, we will come up with day 5. And once again, I'll talk about assessment. So please watch all the sessions carefully. And with this, it's a close down for the session. But before I leave, let's take a look at the schedule, what's all coming ahead. In a short while from now, you can watch our session Sayog, where we will be talking about building resilient schools, supporting well-being in students. And this is the list of entire programs that you've been watching since morning. Please do watch them. They're available on our YouTube handle, NCERT Official. And with this, it's me, Harpreet Kaur, signing off. But you stay tuned for more educational programs. Namaskar.